Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well, and thank you very much for joining us for our webinar this morning. I'll get this started. So my name is Juuso Santti. Some of you may know me, but I look after the Cim200 product here at the Cim software. And what we are going to talk about today is to have a look at the very, very high level overview of Cim200 manufacturing solution for Sage 200 Professional. And how I'm going to run this session today is I'm not going to keep it very PowerPoint heavy, but I do have a few slides. What I'm going to talk about is first of all, have a look who we are, what Cim200 is all about. I'll give you a brief demonstration of some of the functionality of what Cim200 offers. Once we have gone through the demonstration, talking about a little bit about migration and migration tools we have available, where Cim200 is heading to, and also how you can get Cim200 to complement your Sage 200 Professional. And next steps, and if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box or use the Q&A. So who are we? So we are Cim Software. We are the award-winning Sage Tech Partner Plus. And the plus at the end means that we are the highest tier of Sage developers. So Sage works with a number of partners. You can have Sage developers, but to gain the Sage Tech Partner Plus accreditation, you will have to be fully accredited with Sage and your solutions being tested with Sage. So that's what we are at the highest tier. There can be 1,000 tech partners, but there's only a handful of Sage Tech Partner Pluses, and literally mean handful, which is 4 or 5 of them in Sage 200. We've been established since the mid-90s, and we always been working with Sage as an accounting and finance package, and we've been developers since then, and we've only been working within the manufacturing verticals for near enough 30 years now. We have a consultancy and management team. It has over 150 years of experience with to implement and support and developing manufacturing software solutions. I am a mechanical engineer by trade. I've been going through the automotive industry for about 15 years, and then moved on to the software, just trying to help on that side of things. And I have quite a keen interest in the area. And also, Cim Software, we have no commissioned staff, so everyone is on a salary, and whether the product's being bought or not is it doesn't have affect anyone's rent or mortgage payments. But of course, if no one buys it, we won't be having a salary to pay those rents. So we all work as a team, but there's no pressure sales. There's nothing like that. We just want to find a perfect solution for every single customer we have. How Cim200 came about was back in 2019. We started developing Cim200 on the back of the success of Cim50, which is the younger sibling of or smaller sibling of Cim200. And in January 2021, Sage declared that Cim200 Manufacturing was withdrawn from sale. So since then, you haven't been able to purchase Cim200 Manufacturing, and that was sort of predicted by us starting 2 years earlier to develop Cim200, as we noticed that there was no further development in Cim200 Manufacturing, and to protect our customer base, which is 95% in manufacturing. We had to do something about it. Same year, at the very end of the year, we released the Cim200, and shortly after that, Info announced the Swan manufacturing was decommissioned, and we used to support, or we are still supporting Swan manufacturing. And we had to find a home for all of these customers from Cim200 Manufacturing and Info Swan, and that has tailored Cim200 quite heavily. In September last year, we released our graphical scheduler, which is a great scheduling tool. You will see that in a moment in the demo. And in October 2023, a month after the graphical scheduler was released, we were added to the Sage price list. So Sage is actively endorsing the sales of Cim200 as a replacement to Cim200 Manufacturing. March this year, we released the soft-floor data capture that we will briefly visit on the demonstration, but further demonstrations will be available about. And going forward, we have continuous developments, and you will see that after the demonstration, I will go through the roadmap and I will demonstrate to you how where we are taking the product and what is coming up in the immediate future. Cim200 originally was designed to replace the Cim200 manufacturing module. However, there has been some changes in the progress. As mentioned, Info Swan has been retired, so we had to find something that can replace Cim200 Manufacturing, Swan, natural migration route from Cim50, as well as other products to give at this price point give the best possible solution for variety of end users. We do piggyback on Cim200's commercials modules and bill of material modules, but we are enhancing on those areas quite heavily, and we are compatible with most of the market leading Sage add-ons that have been approved by Sage. So you can use any third-party supplier to interact with Cim200, and it is suitable like Cim200. It is suitable for businesses with up to about 200 employees. Can be more, can be less, depending on what you do. But what we have here as in terms of our modules is we are utilizing Sage 200 commercials modules. So we are integrating with sales order processing, purchase order processing. We integrate with stock control, bills of materials, and we are enhancing all of those modules. Planning module, which is the MRP, which tells you what to buy, when to buy, how to buy. That is completely our module. So is the works order processing, where you can control your production. Shop floor data capture to get accurate information. It's completely us. And a graphical scheduler where you can have a graphical Gantt chart type of scheduling for your production. But without me blabbing more on PowerPoint slides, I can jump on to the Sage 200, and you can see Cim200 sits within Sage 200. There is no external applications or anything like that. And we are integrating with sales orders. So for instance, but we are enhancing them. So for instance, on the quotations, we are now allowing you to have multiple revisions of quotations with a history of all the changes happening throughout your quotation process. Where you are having a quotation and you have multiple lines, you will be able to have a look. We do have stock item alerts. Forgot that was on, but you can go and configure a existing bill of material. You can make changes to an existing bill of material that you have quoted on quoted for a customer. So let's say I have an item instead of a leg, I use a countertop, and we keep a history of the costings of all the changes to those configurations. You can copy from the existing configuration as well, and copy from an existing bill of material if you wanted to do so. You can also create a sort of a prototype. That's where that would be usually used as, but you can configure a free text line with the components that you can retrospectively quote and convert into a bill of material record or stock record and a bill of material record if you wanted to sell that and keep a history of that, all of that. We'll have give the history of the revisions. You can go and view the revision from here, and the costing analysis is quite interesting on a quotation level. So you can see all your material costs, labor costs, machine costs, component costs, and then you will be able to see where you might want to tweak those areas. And that is per revision. So I have my revision 2 here. If I went to revision 1, that would be completely different. On a quotation line, what you will have a visibility of, so you can have your configurations. You have a what is one of the greatest features of Cim200, in my personal opinion, is a stock profile. So you will be able to see what your stock quantities are, what your demands are, and such like. When you're going from the sales order processing, it will filter it to the warehouse where that is. But we can also go and view all warehouses, and I can see we have some works orders. We can see outstanding works orders from here and what the quantities are, when they are due, and so forth. And from here, you can go and view those records, whether they are purchase orders, sales orders, works orders, and such like. From here, you have a view of a full works order where we have created the works order from the quotation line itself. So it has created that firm link. So when the works order is completed, it will be assigned to that particular quotation. If the quotation has been converted into the sales orders in the process, of course, the link type or order type will change the sales order because they are linked together. And from here, you can go and view and change the components, operations, subcontracting. You can view the costings, whether it's a original or if you have made any changes retrospectively, you will get the last estimated costs, which will then update the project accounting if you're using project accounting as a committed costs, and the actual costs, of course, once you have completed, once you're doing the completions and so forth. And you will get a real-time stock projection and the MRP stock projection if you have any MRP recommendations for that. My favorite shrink is the coffee. So, and I do like espresso. I know there is someone in the crowd who listening who really likes espressos as well. But so I thought I'll take this up so you can see a little bit more action on this. So you can see the stock quantities, you can see the sales orders, number of them, real-time stock projection between all the warehouses and so forth. So you can view all of those documents. When you're going through the manufacturing process, so you run the MRP, you do you raise your orders, purchase orders, sales order, and the works orders and such like. You will be presented with number of um, recommendations, and we are quite proud of our MRP. It is lightning fast compared to say 200 manufacturing in most cases. Of course, there are some environmental things and data thing. It's just I'd slow it down. But as an example, we had a customer moved over from Sage 200 Manufacturing who could not run at MRP, scheduled MRP in a day, and we have knocked that down to less than 15 minutes. So an average because throughout our customer base, the average MRP run is in single figures. Right. So if I move on. So I have a number of works orders from here. There are a couple of other pieces what we have in Cim200. So let's start with shop floor data collection. So we can use barcode scanning to scan onto the operations and so forth. It's a device agnostic, so you can run it on mobile phone, laptop, anything you want. You can use your laptop camera if you wanted to, or your mobile phone camera as a barcode scanner. They are not as accurate as a proper barcode scanners, but I can demonstrate you just issuing stock. Bear with me 2 moments. My scanner seems to be misbehaving. There we go. I had gone to sleep, but so from here I can go and issue stock using the barcode scanner, and from here I can say, okay, I issue one of them. I issue a couple of those, and move on from there. So I can issue directly from here. I can also issue by product. So if I would say, okay, where do I had a receipt of bench cushions, so I can say, okay, I can issue it into the multiple works orders at the same time, and you don't have to allocate stocks. You can just go and issue if you wanted to in Cim200. Allocation is optional. We can also go and do book into the operations. So I have already clocked myself onto or SIMD onto an operation. If chosen so, you can book onto the multiple operations at the same time, and what you can see is on the operation itself, you can see any manufacturing instructions. You can say operation specific notes. So if you have if you are using any of those, you can see them. You can also write memos. You can read memos, and you can. So I can add from a shop floor, if allowed to. You can say, I'm not very creative with my wordings, but I can say this is the memo that is ended now. And if I go into the works order, I can see it straight there. So that will always be entered onto the works order, and it has the audit log sort of for who's added it, who's and when it was added, and when it's been modified, and so forth, and who's modified it. Okay. Further analysis on these, or if we go a little bit further, we can have a look on scheduling. On so you can schedule operations. You can sketch whereby you will have a graphical representation of subcontracting operations that are on time. You can drag and drop operations and see if something is late, it becomes on time, where and you have subcontracting operations. On this one, if I zoom in a little bit on the operation, you can see there is a little bit of a darker green that is showing from the shop floor data collection, the progress bar, how far along you are with the operations. And if I go into the resource side of things, you can manage it by the employees, machines, and such like, and you will get your loading figure on the bottom of the screen on particular resources. You can also enter non-operational time, no works orders. So we have a monthly service booked in for the CNC cutting machine. The red color here is indicating a conflict, so I can move it into a different machine that can do the same job, but only within the group. I cannot go and do a CNC machine on the lathe, so that will then affect my loading on the bottom half. Okay. And then we can go from there. Once you have your receipts, we do have quality control. You can have quarantine inspections. You have number of different things. You can, if you have a something that fails, you are able to generate a rework works order from the quarantine inspection. You can do you can also do a purchase order receipt uh, if it is a purchase item, and you can come through and have different questions for items being inspected. Let's hear. So if the COMAS delivery note and any result recorded will be recorded with the date and timestamp with the results. Okay. And from there, you can dispatch and you can retrospectively go and do the full batch traceability, backwards, forwards, and so forth. We have developed seamless migration tools for Cim200 Manufacturing into Cim200, Swan Manufacturing, Cim50, and Cim200 Manufacturing controls. In Cim200, the financials and such like will need to be migrated otherwise, but we have all the bills of material stock and so forth within the migration tool. And we can develop migration options for other solutions to namely importing, exporting from the Excel and so forth. We are continuously developing the products, so we are not sitting on our laurels. Some of the notable features that are coming out on the next release, due out in August 2024, followed by a February release next year. But we are releasing our carbon footprint calculator, already available in Cim50, but we are bringing that on to the next level with Cim200. You will be able to schedule MRP recommendations within the scheduler before actually actioning them and raising them as firm orders. We bring a basic SOP and POP audit log and multiple components lists. So you may have something that you can make with alternative components. So you will be able to list all of those material lists against the bill of material record and utilize those on the works order processing. And also we will give you MRP recommendations for stock transfers, especially if you have goods in transit enabled, which will take into account the transit time from one location to another. So Cim200 allows and takes into account if you have a warehouse in China and takes 8 weeks to get a container across the UK, MRP will actually recognize that. If you are interested in Cim200, we are more than happy to provide you more information, or I am, and everyone within the business. But we also have a number of business partners that we work through. They're fully accredited, fully supported by us. They have passed our accreditation training. They are fully versed with Cim200, and they are able to sell, support, train you, and consult you with our solution. So if there is one of the partners shown there is your partner, please contact them directly. If not, you're always welcome to talk to me, and I am happy to talk to your business partner about the accreditation, or we can look at the options to get with Cim200. So thank you very much. That was very much a whistle-stop tour. If you have any questions, I am more than happy to try to answer them now.